Hello everybody, it's Chibi, and today is going to be the first anime review from fall 2014 of anime, Terra Formars. Now, a couple weeks back, about 3 or 4 weeks back, there was an OVA released of Terra Formars that, just pretty much took place in Bugs 2. Now, with this episode, the events of this episode takes place after that arc that we saw in the OVA episode. So, as I said in my OVA review, I said that they skipped over some vital information in that OVA episode. Now, it was an OVA episode, so I expected some form of rushing or whatever, okay? And I said I was optimistic about the first episode of Terra Formars. I wasn't going to go in there ranting and thinking about the OVA. So I was optimistic. I was looking at it as completely standalone. So, I have read the manga. I stated that in the OVA. Now, as always, I'm going to be honest if it was adapted properly or not. The first episode of Terra Formars skipped over 2 arcs. Skipped over Bugs 1 and skipped over Bugs 2. These 2 arcs had major development for the roaches and also developed our main characters that survived Bugs 1 and 2. For instance, Komachi, the dude from the OVA episode. If you've yet to watch it, this might be a little bit of spoilers, but the main character dude that you saw being a boss and you saw the girl die in his arms and get her neck snapped, that was the main character. But instead, they decided to focus the main point of view in this episode and try to make everybody believe that the main character is Akari in this series. So, kind of upsetting a little bit. Now, for the most part, the episode seems rather fine, besides one obvious flaw I noticed in this episode, which, as always, can be fixed with BD DVDs, and that would be the censors. Tokyo Ghoul had its censors that was pretty bad, but this episode, I watched on Crunchyroll. And when you saw Akari beating the shit out of the bear, and I'm guessing ripping out its innards and stuff, I forget exactly what happens in certain events, but pretty much they censored out about 90% of the screen, or even more than that, maybe even 95% of the screen was censored with black and white. I couldn't even see anything. All you could hear was fucking sound for the next 30 to 40 seconds of the episode. I'm like, what the fuck? It was so bad, because you want to know why this is bad news for a lot of us? This is nothing to what is to come when it comes to violence and gore. And if they're already censoring a fucking bear like that, oh god. The censors are going to be, half the series is going to be 90% censors. No, it's not even going to be on Tokyo Ghoul level. It's going to be beyond that, because there's a lot more shit going down, and a lot more gore and violence and organs being thrown everywhere in this series that Tokyo Ghoul never did. And so, if it's that censored already on the first episode, I am scared to see what future content is going to have in an episode or 2. Now, I want to talk about something real quick, okay? Something that I need to get off since this is the first episode I want to talk about it. Probably anime-only watchers are confused as fuck. I'm going to be honest. Most likely, all anime-only watchers are like, okay, what the fuck? Okay, we got a virus here. We got, this person that couldn't be treated, 100%, death rate pretty much from this virus. We got to go to Mars and cultivate the virus. Okay, we got that. And then there's some type of treatment. Like, what the fuck is this treatment? And, oh, yes, Akari is a fucking monster. So, that's pretty much probably what anime-only watchers got from this episode. And as a rough draft. That right there is very upsetting, because the whole point of this arc, honestly, was to show the improvement of humanity after their failures from the first 2 arcs, Bugs 1 and 2, which they mentioned in this episode. So technically, I'm not spoiling anyone, because it was mentioned in this episode. So, they skipped over development for characters. They skipped over the source of whatever this procedure is. Not going to go into details of it, because I don't want to spoil anime-only watchers. But they skipped over a lot of stuff. And so, personally, if you want to know what is truly going on, I recommend reading chapters 1 through 7, I think that is, or chapters 1 through 9. Now, I think that's exactly where it takes place. I forget the exact chapter numbers, but start from chapter 1, chapter 9, or whatever, and you'll probably see what is going on and what they fucking skipped. Now, the first half of this episode, focusing on Akari, it was, I don't know, I felt like the first chapter of Terra Formars had a lot more impact, honestly. It actually concreted the threat of the roaches a lot better compared to what they did at the end of this episode, just revealing the roach in a freaking stasis tube. That's what they did. And so, I felt like it was very bland, and they could have had so much better when it comes to the first chapter if they would have adapted that. But judging by how they censored the bear versus Akari in this episode, they would have had a black screen in under 30 seconds from the first chapter. if they would have adapted it. So, I see why they probably skipped it, because it was too fucking violent, but, I mean, if they're wanting to skip that, they might as well skip the entire series, which they might do, because they skip over some dialogue in this episode that actually sets up other different characters from different countries, because at the end of this episode, you see the spaceship launching towards Mars. Everybody's on the spaceship to launch towards Mars, but before we had that, we had, you know, all these different countries talking to each other and talking about different things that are going on with this virus and what they need to accomplish. So, they've skipped some stuff. They've definitely skipped some stuff. So, honestly, I want to be truthfully honest with you. This is not me rating it as a manga reader. I'm actually going to take this as an anime watch. I want to rate this episode. Very fucking confusing. Leaves you with a lot of questions. It is interesting for the most part, but that censor will definitely turn off a lot of people if you know how dark this series can get. So, I'm going to give it 3 episodes. I'll give it 3 episodes. If it does good, I will continue reviewing it. But if it continues to have stuff like this for 3 episodes, I will drop it. Because I don't want to have to rant on a series I actually enjoy from the manga. So anyways, tell me your thoughts about this episode, everybody. Love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.